The funny thing about focus is that if you keep your eyes on it and follow it long enough, it ends up right behind you where you left it. I'm sorry, what was the question? This is my conversation with Liz Bennett. What if the truth came in a gel cap and we could just pop it in our mouths and forget about it? Well, it doesn't, and we can't. But we can laugh in the face of reality while plotting our survival. Welcome to the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. I am your host, Hersh Rephun, and if my guests can handle the truth, so can you. Open wide, folks. Here it comes. My guest today is Liz Bennett. She is an improv and sketch comedian. She prefers to be called an ADHD improv and sketch comedian. She is a play-by-ear pianist, a book editor, and a ferret lover. And I think we know that the ferret lover part and the book editor part are thrown in just for their shock value.
Oh no, my ferret's right there.
Oh, it is? Can we see the ferret?
It's not legal in California, but yes, I'm not in California, maybe. 1 second.
Okay.
Orlando, we want to see you.
We have an all pets are welcome open door policy on the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. But this is what is your ferret's name?
His name is Orlando, after the Shakespeare.
Orlando. Oh.
Mm-hmm. And every time you go like this to a ferret, they yawn. Wait for it. Unless he's going to prove me wrong.
Are you tired? Orlando?
No, he's too tired. I woke him up.
He's really legit tired. It's like, dude, I'm too fucking tired to yawn. I'm not yawning.
They sleep 18 hours a day and they only poop in corners. Okay, well, I'll put him back.
You can only have so many corners in your house then because you're going to be cleaning. Well, there's a couple of firsts here. We'll wait for Liz to return. She's placing the ferret in its abode. So there's two firsts here. One is this is the first ferret, and I believe indeed the first pet we've had on this show. But you are also the first comedian to appear on the show. Which, considering that I'm a comedian, but I'm not a guest. But really, considering how many comedians we know, that's pretty special. So I appreciate
awesome.
I appreciate that, and I'm glad it's you. So for those of you who don't know Liz, she's very funny, very witty, and clever, and combines music and comedy in her performance, which is something that I really love. And I aspire to music. Like, I love music, and I try to incorporate it, and I have incorporated it. But I'm not a musician in any real sense. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with comedy and music.
It's really interesting because music was actually the only thing that I took seriously or like showed, because all comedians are like the most depressed people, right? And so the music is where that could come out. And so I never really used to share it, but that's how I learned to play the piano so well. Because I like started my anxiety in college. And so I would just go to the piano and practice for like 7 hours a night. Right. And then I realized I could make parodies and like use it in shows, and it amplifies like humor. But
you taught yourself to play, right? You played by ear?
Yeah.
And when did you start that?
I really started it freshman year of college. So I was like 18, 19. So however many years ago.
Right.
13 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I've had a piano and I've been messing around with it since I was like 8. But I really started when I was.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother, 3 younger sisters, and an older brother. I just found him, which was cool.
Oh wow! Oh, that's cool. How did that come about?
I typed his name on Facebook and I saw this geeky looking kid, and I knew it was my brother.
Why did you type his name?
I just was like, wonder what he looks like.
Oh, I mean, but you saying you just found him, you knew he existed?
Yeah. I found out he existed, and then I typed in his name and found it's all kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a cool guy.
But you found out that he existed, and you checked him out, and as soon as you saw him, you were like, okay, that's
immediately.
That's him.
Mhm.
That's the one.
In this picture.
So that's a pretty big family. That's a lot of siblings. I have two older siblings. They both took piano lessons, and I was so turned off by piano lessons, but I would always, by ear and like, fart around on the piano. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to take lessons. And eventually I said to my mom, "Oh, I will take lessons." And she said, "No, it's going to ruin your love of the instrument. Like if you start taking
Interesting.
lessons now, you're just going to lose your enthusiasm." Because my sisters never play.
Yeah.
They took it for years. They got all the little Bach and Beethoven statues and things that you
And
put
then where
on
do you go
top of
from there?
where do
Yeah.
you go from there?
Yeah.
And but they could technically play better than I can. So I kind of regret not learning the formal stuff.
Yeah. Anytime I meet a like play by like sight pianist, they're
Yeah.
jealous of my skills and I'm jealous of their skills. Like they think that it's because I can just hear a song and play it and they can't do that.
Right.
Which I almost think is sometimes more useful. But then, I'm not backing up like musical theater auditions or shows or anything like that.
But what kind of music do you like to play?
I like rapping. I like to like figure out raps, really, really fast raps, because my brain with my ADHD is always just going like this, like 10,000 manic voices going like this. So I might as well put it to fast raps. Then I make
you're very good with that. The flow is great. And yeah, it's funny because we don't know each other that well. We know each other over the years we've stayed in touch, but
over the bar. Yes.
We know we're over
the
bar at Sal's, right? But basically the ADHD part, I really didn't know, existed per se until I started watching more of the videos and you mentioned it, but it makes total sense.
Yeah.
What does it, so you've become kind of an expert in attention deficit, right?
ADHD people have hyperfocuses, like little hyperfixations that they cycle through, and mine has been ADHD.
Yeah. Oh, so it's your hyperfocus.
Yeah.
Is the ADHD itself.
Until someone assigns it to me or tells me to do it, then I'll get bored of it and have another hyperfocus until I'm reminded of it again. And
what role? So that's one role that it kind of plays in your life.
It's
in that
every single thing in my life. Yeah.
It's connected to everything.
Yes.
And so how do you feel about that? Like what's your relationship like?
I mean, I love my brain. It's like I know that it's different from everyone else's, but like as I'm seeing this ADHD specialist and finding out little things that I thought was just like me that were actually my ADHD the whole time, like sleep problems or like not eating or drinking water or like forgetting to call my family for 4 months. Or even like being really sensitive to rejection and lashing out, and just like learning these things, it makes it so that you have more of a handle on it. And it's sad that like most people, a lot of therapists will like, I hear my friends be like, I'm talking about my ADHD and the therapist is just like, well, why don't you focus? You know what I mean? Like that they just, and it's like, what? Because there's 30 voices repeating diddly da diddly dodo in my head. Like, what did you just say even? Like it's very,
And what about, do you do any kind of medication
I do take like stimulants for it. And it's ever since the looting a couple years ago when they looted all the Adderall out of the pharmacies, it is so hard to get it sometimes because they are very controlling with it.
It's hard to get Adderall?
Yeah.
Why don't you focus?
I know.
Why don't you focus on getting it, and then you should? That's the problem.
I did. I found a guy on the streets in case I run out, and he's.
You can't do that now. You can't do that now.
Why?
You can't with all the fentanyl crisis. Now I don't know that they're cutting fentanyl with
definitely
Adderall.
Not. I mean, at least these ones.
but
I hope not. Uh-oh.
What?
Oh no, I was just thinking I took one before the interview, so hopefully I'm okay.
Yeah. How long does it take to work?
It's starting to work like right now because you can tell I'm like calming down a little bit.
You're settling down a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, it's not necessarily good. I mean, my oldest son has Asperger's, and all that means, which is what any of it means, is that his mind works a certain way.
Absolutely. I'm hyper-focused on that too. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that the Asperger's community is very upset right now because they cut that out of the autism dictionary. So
Oh,
Asperger's
okay.
technically doesn't exist anymore, which is making people very mad because they always identified with this community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It had
but
the
that's
opposite
very
effect,
similar.
with him in that
Really?
he he preferred, like I said to him, oh, like when he's 30, he just turned 30. So he's a writer, works for a nonprofit. But when he was interviewing for jobs, I would say, you can, because sometimes there are certain behaviors you don't read completely clearly, and you may appear to be less enthusiastic about something. It's not a terrible thing to slip in, that you have Asperger's, or that
No, you should.
you should let them know. And he said, oh, it's not even a thing anymore. Like Asperger's doesn't even exist
It
anymore.
just means that he's on the low end of the autism spectrum, which
Right.
is a superpower. Yeah. Hmm.
So, but it's something that I think he's gotten more comfortable with as he's gotten a little older. But at the beginning of the journey, where he was 7 and diagnosed with
Okay. Yeah.
Asperger's, it was so important
Hmm.
because people didn't know then how to deal with it, and teachers were either unprepared or assholes, or both. And it
Yeah.
was it was like, why put this poor kid through like the ringer of behavior modification?
Yeah. I mean,
You
like,
know?
so I've been dating. This is about, remind me in case I forget that this is about Asperger's or
Okay.
autism.
Well,
But
yeah.
oh, sorry, no, I met this girl recently who has autism, like pretty, like in the middle of it. And we were like dating for a while, and it was so fun because ADHD and autism are very similar in a lot of ways. And it's almost on like the same spectrum. And a lot of people with autism also have ADHD or vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was the only thing that didn't work out is so like we have, what is it called, object permanence issues. So if I don't talk to someone for a little bit, I still love them. I'm just, oh shit, I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks. I don't know that. I don't know that it's been an hour or 2 weeks. And she was like, I know you're
Oh.
slow ghosting me because you don't like my autism. And I was like, no, dude, I totally forgot. And then it got, it got weird. So we don't really talk anymore, but it was really cool because we would take the time to talk about each other's neurodivergencies and like adapt the way we were behaving around each other.
I find that it works both ways. The different personalities that we have can create barriers,
Hmm.
and they can also create avenues
Absolutely.
that because, for example, with Asperger, people are much more on it. They can't really be deceptive, and
They have no
uh,
guile. They're
they
perfectly
they have
innocent.
no guile.
Mhm.
Perfectly well said. They have no guile, so you can relate much more easily than you can to someone who's trying so hard to put on all these
Mhm.
masks,
Exactly.
and no one knows. And what passes for normal is someone
Mhm.
who just is really good at recognizing masks, and really good at bullshitting, and really good at deception and manipulation. That's what a
I didn't
normal
even know
person
that.
would be. Well, that's what it seems like to me, because that's when I feel the most normative in society, is when I
Neurotypical.
neurotypical, right? When I feel the most neurotypical in society is when I'm on top of the social, shit that I have to do. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm on top of it. I'm focused. I know how to
Cool.
behave in a certain situation,
Huh.
you
Yeah,
know?
I guess so. For me, I have no filtration system. So
Right.
whatever I think or feel just comes right out of my face. And it's like, so I guess I don't even know what it's like to feel like normal in a social situation, but I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that level is all nothing but trouble, is my point. But the
Yes.
fact that you can actually, for example, as a performer, sometimes when I'm on stage, I feel really free. And
Hmm.
sometimes I feel nervous,
Yes.
anxious, and then I freeze, let's say, like
Hmm.
anybody does. Or I miss the opportunity to really go for some bit that I couldn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the bit is starting in my head, and then I kind of bypass it, and I'm like, that may not
Mhm.
It works. It helps in social situations. Don't get thrown out of class.
I got
You
thrown
know,
out of class until college. I was sorry, I interrupted you.
what did you, no, that's, what did you
Mhm.
say? And what did you do in school
I
that
have,
got you in trouble?
I used to, when I was like, I didn't get diagnosed till I was 22. Women aren't usually
Oh, wow.
diagnosed. Like girls, they used to not think that girls had ADHD. So little boys were
Yeah.
diagnosed and girls weren't. Plus, my parents were kind of like absent in that avenue. And so they weren't really paying attention. And so like when I was 22, I was in London and one of my roommates in London was on Adderall and she didn't want to take it. She's like, I don't feel like taking it today. Do you want to try it? And I was like, okay. And we went to study at the Globe. And I remember she's like, you're going to feel really spastic and all this stuff. And I felt like I had been on my tiptoes my entire life. And I sank down onto the ground and I looked over at my teacher and I looked over at everyone and I was listening. And I was like, what is happening? It was very cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
And
question though. I'm sorry.
I don't either. I don't either. And I also wonder, I wonder about myself. And I say this to my son and I say it to all my kids. Like, I don't know what I've never been diagnosed. Like, I don't know what like, what's the line between something that's diagnosable and something that just is some trait that I have?
I mean, so it's things like, so if I say I have ADHD and someone says, oh yeah, me too, I can't focus. It's like this, okay, so sometimes you can't focus, but I can never focus like every single second. So it's about like the permanence of a quality versus something that
Mhm.
occasionally happens, I would think. And
Okay.
yeah.
So jumping to art, music, comedy, book editing, as you
Mhm.
mentioned, and so professionally, what's been the trajectory for you?
I mean, honestly, with how intense my ADHD is and how late I got diagnosed, my therapist and I, we always talk about how like grateful I should just be that I like have money to pay rent and I'm happy and I have like all these jobs and I'm doing well. Like that's a huge victory with how insane it is inside of not
Yeah.
insane, neurodivergent it is
Yeah.
inside of my brain. But I'm trying to like surround myself with jobs that are my talents. For instance, I'm like obsessed with the English language, like punctuation and grammar and all that. Like some of my, I wrote a sketch called the English teacher sketch that we performed where I had all these boys in my class and I made example sentences that slowly let the boys know that I was having sex with all of their mothers. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I even put like grammar into my sketches.
Do you have an ambition for more people to see your sketches and hear your
Mhm.
comedy
Oh
and your,
yeah. Well, I have a
you know,
group. We were doing things at Sal's right before the pandemic. We booked the place like every other week.
right.
And then the pandemic happened and now I'm trying to write a show about more. So I'm having a lot of my favorite like comedians of color write sketches to point out the stupid things that white people do without realizing it. And then we're
Oh,
going to
great.
perform those as little staples in between the sketch show. Cause I kind of want to like make an impact with it as well. I don't know what
That's
you asked me
that's
again.
fantastic. No,
Okay.
that's okay. That's fantastic. Yeah, and Twisted Comedy was the was
Yes,
the
yes,
was
twisted
the
comedy.
troupe, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was looking to see if you guys had done any more stuff.
No, I realized that I was in a group with like 8 white boys, and I was like, nope. I had to like change the group, so I like got all these different. I
Well,
have like 40 people.
there's something there. The through line of, here's a lesbian with 8 dudes, and then wanting to have black guys break it down for white people
Hmm.
who are clueless.
Yeah,
Because one thing that seems to be a through line with you is that you know so much about personality, I
I
think.
can like. So I know this goes with ADHD too, but I'm a huge empath. I guess almost like I'm not going to go spiritual, but almost like psychically. So sometimes where I can have a customer sitting at a table and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she'll just be like, and start sobbing like, how did you know? So I can
Um,
feel that. And I learned that that's because with ADHD we growing up would get into so much trouble or like we would be told we were wrong or something, and so we learned to people please and to really 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 read people.
so do you cry a lot?
Well, ADHD people compartmentalize their emotions. So, like, if something
Um,
sad happens, I might be really inappropriately reacting. And then 2 years later, just sitting on a couch and start sobbing. Someone will be like, what's happening? I'm like, I'm thinking about a breakup that happened 6 years ago. And then 2 minutes later, I'll stop sobbing and be like, whew, I want sushi. Yeah.
Yeah. See, those are things I can totally relate to. I
Mhm.
totally relate to in the moment processing things. Well, I don't know that I would say I'm detached, but in the moment I might process emotional things, like truly emotional, significant
Mhm.
things, very intellectually.
Yes.
But completely superficial things I'll process very viscerally. Like if I close the door on my finger or something,
Oh yeah.
I have an outsized reaction. Like it
Yes.
could be a paper cut too. My
It's like, what the
reaction
fuck?
is, yeah. My sisters used to always joke that like whatever happened to me, the joke was, oh, we're gonna have to amputate.
Yep.
Because I would say, oh my God, I got that. And they go, oh, we're gonna have to amputate.
Exactly. Mhm.
Or
it'll be 7 a.m. and I'll see my cat throw up or something. And I'll be like, what the fuck? And I'll take a big book and just throw it at the cat. And I'm like, why did I do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at the cat. You know what I mean? I love that.
And well, of course, I have a dog. I'm a dog person.
What kind of dog?
I respect cats. A Yorkie poo.
Okay. My dad
He's
would call that
Yorkie
a little
poo.
rat dog, but I would still love it.
Yeah, he's adorable.
Yeah,
But
no.
last night, my 14-year-old daughter had 4 friends stay over. So, 5 14-year-olds in your house can get on your nerves a little bit.
Mhm.
And okay. And Toby, my dog, was just sitting on my bed, and he starts to bark about something that and I said, shut up, Toby. And it
Mhm.
was like that was the first time that I've told we've had him for 2 years. That's the first time I told him to shut up.
It
I
still
felt
seemed very calm.
yeah, it wasn't that. It was the idea that shut up, Toby. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll say shut up to like podcasts that I listen to. They can't hear me, but
Yeah.
the people that I like that can't hear me, I'll say, oh, shut the fuck up, shut up.
Yeah.
Like you would say to your friends or anybody, shut up. But with Toby, I was really a little angry, and I was like, just shut up, Toby.
Damn, Toby. And then when you said that, my brain went, did he name it after? So this is what my brain just did as you were talking. I did hear everything you're saying. It went,
yes.
Did he name the dog after Toby Maguire? Did he name the dog after that character Toby and Sweeney Todd? Toby or not Toby? I was just like, yeah, the Shakespeare
There's
one.
also a line in Reservoir Dogs in the beginning of Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, where they're sitting in the restaurant and Harvey Keitel is looking through this phone book, and he's making fun of his boss. And he goes, this is you. You're like the Toby Wong, Toby Chan, Toby. You ever
Like
see
Toby
that?
Wan Kenobi?
It's no, like something like that.
Oh, no, I haven't seen
like, it's just a bit, but like I have these arcane bits in my head. And so I make these associations. But Toby was just a name that one of my daughters liked for him.
Because all my animals, I have 5 animals. They're all Shakespearean, except one of them. I was like, nope, Tucker. I look right at him and I was like, that's Tucker. And I tried to justify it. I researched, I scoured through every Shakespeare thing I could find. There is not a Tucker, and I still named him Tucker.
There's no Tucker in Shakespeare.
No Tucker.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, the guy, we could say that when they cross-dressed, they were like dick tuckers or something.
So how often now with the pandemic and everything, we're still juggling. We don't know whether we don't know at what stage of the pandemic we're in. What is the performance landscape looking like for you right now?
Are you talking about goals?
No, well, not.
Oh my gosh, because I don't have any of those. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you don't have to have. Did you never have goals?
The Groundlings is my one goal.
Yeah, and what are you doing to that end?
I just passed advanced, so I'm gonna try to move up to writing lab. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, not a surprise. Not a surprise. No, well, that's the thing. I think what it is when I watch your videos, I'm like, oh wow, more people should see that than are seeing it. Like it's yeah, but some people are driven by that idea themselves. Like I just want as many, like sometimes their stuff isn't even that good. They just have tremendous ambition to have it be seen.
And see, I've never had that, but a lot of people have it for me, or I'm starting to surround myself with people, mostly music right now is the big focus, people who support me and have the brain to do that part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
or like get it out there. But yeah, the Groundlings has been the one step-by-step feasible goal in my mind.
How does that feel to have that kind of
It's
order?
good. It's like the one thing that makes sense. You cannot fail. It's like a scientific method for improv with the Groundlings. And so I would always have teachers say, get out of wacky town. You're going, because I'd be like, I'd say the most crazy thing on stage because I thought that's what you had to do. But this is so character based that it all comes through the lens of a character and the relationship. And you just cannot fail with this method.
Right. Now, do they still do essentially scripted shows? Like they create shows?
So the Friday, Saturday shows are the main company, and it's usually like mostly sketch with a few improv scenes in there. Like Wednesday night is just, it's all long form improv. The whole thing is improvised. And Monday night's called the Black version. What they do is they get a suggestion of a movie, and then so like Finding Nemo, and they change it to like Finding Shakis and improvise the entire Black version of Finding Nemo. So some of their shows are entirely improv, but the main one is sketch based.
Now, how does it work when you have improvisers that are diverse, and when it comes to cultural appropriation, and that, like I do a lot of dialects, I do voices, it's always, but there's always a little bit of hesitation about certain,
like I would never do, like I was in the main company in Burbank, that place.
And I was there too.
Yeah. And then
I did that. Yeah.
I did leave. Yeah, but it was, they would do this one exercise where it would be like hillbillies and fine, English, okay, cool, like dumb, okay. And then he'd be like Indian, and I would just go until the scene was over, and then I would come back in. I would not do that.
Yeah.
Because it just felt so like, why? Like I was like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know what it was? You couldn't find the intent that would make it reasonable or justifiable.
Or like, why did we need to do that? And the other person would always go right into like being a clerk or something. I'm like, come on. I don't know.
Yeah. They could have called the exercise stereotype. Like, let's just do a let's do a stereotype. What usually happens with me is I admire something and therefore want to mimic it because I'm like a natural mimic.
Oh, yeah. And what you can do is take the thing and pick a quality and amplify a quality instead of you know what I mean? So like pick a quality that you like in the timbre of the voice and make that the character, not the fact that it's like someone with an Indian accent. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think I do that subconsciously, or I like during lockdown, I created a channel on Instagram called 3 Times Daily Comedy because I thought we needed like 3 doses of comedy every day to keep ourselves from going nuts.
I would have known about that.
and I would just walk around my house or the outside or wherever I could go, and I would do these characters, but the fact that they were from a certain country or from a certain background was incidental. What drove them was the situation, and that would sometimes dictate the voice. Absolutely.
Yeah. They discourage accents in the Groundlings. You don't need accents.
Right. Yeah.
You just have to change your face, your body, your point of view, your vocality.
Right.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
From Friends. I have like 6 very solid characters based off of Friends right now.
What are the characters like?
Like my one friend Jax, she knows, she loves that I do this. She has ADHD too, and she's a stoner, and she loves her niece a lot. And I just loved how she spoke. And so I brought her into class one day, and the teacher was like, yes, I like this. Let's make her just really want everyone to be paying attention to her or interested, even if she's not saying good things. So it's just kind of like this girl, like she really wants her niece to be on a Hallmark card. You listening, that's so good. Like that kind of thing. Like, and then it's all about relationships. So then if I ever feel weird about it, it's like, you squinted, you must really not like me right now. So it's just about like calling the other person out and making that. So yeah, that's the Jax character.
Does that stuff come out in conversation, like in normal conversation with somebody? Will you fall into a character in response to something?
Or more like I will not existentialize it, but like, I was watching a show the other day, and the guy went on a date with a girl, and the guy was like, "This is such a lovely place. Thank you so much." He would like monologue, and the girl would just go, "Yes, beautiful." And the guy wouldn't even act like that was weird. He would just keep leading. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just like, yeah, beautiful. And I started to like come up with this weird thing because of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's the yes, beautiful school of improv.
That's
Instead of it yes and, it's yes, beautiful. Yes, beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Like beautiful. But it's so genuine. She really does think it's beautiful. And that's what's funny.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this at you. I have a secret project. It's really, I just want your feedback because I respect what you do so much.
That's awesome. Thanks.
You're my pleasure. I was going to say my pleasure, but it's not like I'm doing you a favor. No, I really do. So I have a project. Truth Tastes Funny, the podcast, is part of kind of a larger scheme that I have, and it's a secret, and only you and me and the listeners and whoever's working on the podcast, and then whoever ultimately finds it will know. But otherwise it's secret. It's been secret till now, but part of it is going to be this stage show, like a cabaret show. Okay. And I've been working with a musical director friend of mine, a producer friend of mine in New York, and it involves, it's not like the cabaret shows that we often see are the style of their own, right? Cabaret.
More like a variety show.
Like variety and all this stuff. Really, it's a combination of intimate stand-up, like the kind of stand-up where you're on a stool and you're talking to the audience and that kind of thing. They call them one-man shows or one-woman shows. Really, it's really often intimate stand-up. But it's like intimate stand-up, but in a piano bar setting. And I sing some songs that are original, and I sing some songs that are parodies.
I didn't even know you wrote music.
I don't really write music. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. So do you write music?
Yeah.
Like, do you write music? You just don't.
Very heartfelt, like emotional songs. I have like 60 recorded. I just wrote one like 2 nights ago, putting together some music shows. I
listened to some of the, because I remember you, I had reached out to you about, this was in the Sal's days. I did a stand-up show that it doesn't matter. I'm
probably not going to remember.
It doesn't matter. I headlined this show that I did at Sal's.
I remember the flyer.
Yeah, the flyer. What was it? What was the thing called? I hosted it with another. You
had glasses on.
Yeah. I hosted it with another.
Was it Dante and Rebecca? No, anyway.
No. Okay. It was so long ago that I don't remember specifically, but I was doing a lot of these like shows at the time, and I love Sal, and I did a thing at the Comedy Room, the Comedy Hall, Sal's Comedy Hall there. And I had reached out to you about playing keyboard for something. And for some reason you were unavailable, but you said, "Oh, I don't know if I can play the thing that you want me to play. I can play."
This must have been a while ago. Like, I am not the same person. Like, I don't even know that person anymore. I was so overwhelmed with everything. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like depressed. I didn't really want to be performing, like all this stuff. So like, I don't know why I would have said that, because I can play anything you want me to play.
Okay. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. I think I was probably just in a bad place, or a little bit of a bad place. I just started this ADHD therapy like this year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really good. Okay. Well then that changes everything. What I would like to do, we could talk about this offline, of course, but I would love to share some of this show and stuff that I'm doing with you. I would love
that. Yeah.
Because at the very least you would have ideas and insights and input, and in another possible world, you might want to be involved as a musical director or
I'm
pianist.
Already like moving my fingers thinking about like playing the piano for your show. Yeah.
But it's have you found this, like, where you want so badly to collaborate with people, but it's so hard to find
Yeah, I mean,
like people you can collaborate with?
it is, or what I notice is like I'll have someone notice my stuff and then we'll meet up and talk about, yeah, let's make a band, let's write music together, let's do covers. And then this person will start playing my music and being like, oh, we're gonna be so famous. And I'm like, wait, that's mine. You know what I mean? Like we're not doing,
Yeah.
but that's not gonna happen with comedy stuff. Or it's just like with the ADHD, it's hard to get motivated. But I think we do really well with that. I
Yeah.
forget the question.
Yeah. Well, it's about collaborating. Like
Mhm.
I watch, comedians who are in certain circles together, Will Ferrell, actors like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly,
Mhm.
or
Kristen Wiig,
it
Maya
could,
Rudolph.
Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph, and it could be anybody, or even Annie Mumolo, who's Kristen Wiig's, like collaborating partner.
Yes.
And I'm like, did I like did I miss the boat on some of those
We
people?
found it today, Hersh.
We found it today, Liz.
Because remember, I was
That's it.
telling you the thing about how I need someone with the brain to actually put it on.
Yeah.
I can do all like creative. I can get 500 people into a theater space. If you want me to schedule it, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm like, then fine, it's not happening. Like,
Well, but I also need that, not the scheduling person, but I need the business person.
oh,
I'm not really the business person.
Mhm.
I'm not looking for that in you, but I mean, it's not what I
Thank
like.
you. Okay.
Yeah, it's not I've tried it. Like I'm borderline competent when it comes to organization. I'm
Mhm.
really good. I'm good with organization, although, you can organize yourself and then you can organize other people. I'm not
Mhm.
really a manager of people,
Yeah.
but I am like diligent and organized in that sense.
Yes.
I'm a list maker and I love that stuff. It's like a security blanket.
Yeah.
Lists,
I like
lists
to
and
write lists of things I've already done so I can just put checks next to it.
oh yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
That's
have
an
my book
ADHD
here, but I
quality.
have I have like a little list of things about you, questions and things, but
Oh,
they're all
nice.
they're like not things that I needed to write down,
But I
but I
mean, even
felt
like
good writing them down.
after this interview, I'll probably make a list that says interview with Hersh and then put a check mark next to it
And a
just
check
because
mark.
it will make me feel like I've like, oh, like, I don't know. We write things that we've already done on our to-do list for the accomplishment.
Well, that's good. I think that's a good thing to do. That
Yeah.
way you've done so much. You're starting at an
Everything on the list
advantage,
is done.
you know.
Yeah.
David Letterman used to do that. He had the cards and he would have the see. I don't even know where my pen is. Here we go. David Letterman would sit there and he would do that while he was talking to people.
hmm
He
hmm
would make the little check, but I totally get that.
It feels good.
I
Yep.
have let's talk about pride. I have on
Okay.
here.
This
Pride
is
month.
actually the first time I ever went to any pride events because I always like, I don't know why. I always thought like, I don't want to be a militant lesbian. I don't know how
Right.
to explain that. And I didn't understand it. And now I do like it is lovely. It is interesting that lesbians are grouped in the same group as gay guys because we are polar opposites. I don't always get along with them and they don't always get along with me, but like love everyone. And I actually went to the like West Hollywood with a girl that I'm dating on Friday night. And we went to something called gay astrology. And it was a dance with like 200 lesbians. And I just looked around and I was like, girl, you're bisexual. I was like, how did you find this? Like, what is this? I've never seen this
Yeah.
many lesbians. Um, yeah, pride is cool. Like, what are we?
I don't know. I had talk about pride on my list. I think that number one, because I just think it's good. I assume this is going to come out. This this will probably come, this month still. I have some other projects that I'm doing that are connected to pride through a brand that I work with that works with a lot of artists. Our thing is to release something at the end of June so that
Gotcha.
it's like pride doesn't end, pride doesn't end
Awesome.
at
If
the
you
end
can
of
think of
June.
more specific, because if I get a broad question, my brain just like goes into a big cloud. But if you can specify a pride question, that might help.
Yeah, that's on me.
Oh, no, it's
I
not.
should have been more specific, but
No,
see,
oh no, I just meant
it's
if
on.
we could still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just don't have a more specific, but it's
Yeah.
still on my list. But I did
Oh,
talk
like,
about. We
what
did
did I
talk
want
about
to talk?
Pride.
We did. Like, what
We
do I
talk
want to
about
say about
Pride
that? Like, I saw
project.
in Texas, what's really upsetting that I hyper focused on. I was up till 7:30 in the morning watching things actually yesterday about
I
this.
noticed because
Yeah.
not only did you text me at the end of the day or the big night, you then posted something in the morning
Yeah,
that you
that's
said,
normal for
I've
me.
been doing this for 3 hours. I've been in an ADHD
Hyper focus. Yep.
hyper focus for 3 hours. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, so is she going to be exhausted for this
No,
interview?
this is my home. This is my normal. This is just sometimes I don't sleep at all, and then I just go to work. I'm like, hey guys, like it's just normal. It's been going on since I was 8. But I guess the thing that really upset me yesterday is so like in Texas, they're trying to illegalize drag shows. And
Okay.
there are all these people harassing drag queens who like perform for children, saying like, you want to do things to like, but the thing is, if you think about it, like instead of illegalizing things that actually just killed children,
Right.
they're now focusing on the like they're really talking about this, like illegalizing the drag shows. And it's just like, and it's already the abortion, like all this stuff with like pride and stuff like or like feminine rights or whatever. But the fact that they're focusing on that and
Yeah.
the trans things and the things that these people are saying, it's like really good to learn what's going on there. Just like, you know, it's really bad.
Well, what we should do is configure a drag show so that it's about it's really a gun show, and it's drag your ass to the gun show, and it's
Ah,
and it's like, and now you say to them, well, what are you going to do? You're taking away our right to do a gun show.
you're right.
You
Maybe they
can't.
should just all be armed.
I think that we should ask the NRA, hey, you know what? Can you give free guns to everybody in the United States? Let's stop
Yeah.
selling them. It's so silly. Why do you need to sell
Just
them
put
and
them in
make
gumball
money? Just
machines.
give them away. Don't
Yeah.
you want everybody to have a gun? And then you're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. So what are you saying? I'm saying there's no money in guns anymore, since that's not what it's about. Why don't you just give them away? Just give
I
them
think
away.
they should be in gumball machines that don't even need a quarter.
There'll be gunball machines.
Gunballs.
Gunball
Okay, that was
machines.
good. That was a Liz joke.
Thank
That
you.
was really good.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It'll be gunball. Yeah, that could end up in one of your songs.
Oh
The
yeah, now
the
I'm
way you
going through
play
those.
on the way you play on words.
Yeah, that and that my Groundlings teacher actually like invented a game for the advanced show for me to like shine in. He called it
Yeah.
stand-ups. He just had someone, it was supposed to be 2 girls in any restaurant. That was our suggestion though, so you couldn't plan it. I was gonna get a restaurant and then we were supposed to just go off on puns on wherever the restaurant was, and he like made it up for me and it was the Olive Garden. So I had like a million puns about it. Mhm.
So what's next on the Groundlings trajectory?
Since this is my only goal,
That's why I
and
bring it up
since
again.
yeah, and since I passed advanced on the first time, I think I'm going to retake advanced actually, because once you get into the writing program, it's like single elimination. If you don't pass, you're out of the whole program. So I might just retake advanced just to get more reps in and get. But I know the writing
Yeah.
program is totally different. But either way, I want to do everything I possibly can to like be successful in this. I've taken all the levels 3 times, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what is the pinnacle? There is a thing where like you've gotten every belt you can possibly get.
Well, then you're a
in,
groundling.
you're a groundling.
And
So
then you
how
can perform on that stage. Or actually, so if you get into the Sunday company, you can teach there too. And so I love teach. I actually teach acting to people with like special needs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
taught like inner city kids. And once you get to the Sunday company, you're allowed to then teach. So that would be a
Okay.
really cool like thing. I would get to combine like teaching and comedy. And then you can also, I think I need to check in as perform in the shows that aren't the main company shows.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I could do like all the nights except Friday, Saturday. And then every 6 months that you're in the Sunday company, you're evaluated. And it's like you can stay in the program in the Sunday company, or they'll bring you up or they'll cut you out. But either way, you can keep teaching.
Okay. So how far are you from the Sunday company
So
phase?
I have completed the acting track, which was like 4
Okay.
steps. And then the writing, it would just be writing lab and then advanced writing lab. It's there are only ever, I think, 30 groundlings at a time.
Yeah.
And think of all the people that go to classes there. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot. So also like some of the groundlings aren't like, sometimes there's not a slot available forever. You know, I forget now. So writing, right?
Yeah. So to
Sunday
get to
company.
Sunday
I'd have to pass
company.
writing and writing lab. And I haven't done any like real formal sketch writing. My actors will send me these sketches that are like interior, daylight, and mine's just like Liz, this, you know, like, yeah, and
Yeah.
it works out. Mm-hmm. So I've never really done it.
So before we go, now I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we probably don't know how much time we've taken.
The time is flying. This is a fun time.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
It is really fun. And we're going to talk more about my Truth Tastes Funny.
I use my piano as a desk. Like you're on my piano right now.
There we go.
There you go.
Can you play
I don't know if it would.
It's not, is it on?
No, I don't think I can open it. It would take a lot of adjustment.
We already had Orlando the Ferret. We don't really need.
He's perfect.
You know,
oh my God,
we don't
Tucker
need
the cat. Sorry, he's so large.
I would show you a picture of Toby. I don't know if it would.
Here, you find Toby. I'll get the fattest cat.
I'm gonna find a picture. Okay.
One moment. Tucker.
We're gonna get a picture of Toby.
Oh, Tucker! Look at this, Hersh.
Oh my God, that's a gigantic. Is that a lion?
Oh, I don't get it. His sisters are small, and he just turned into this.
Oh, this is a good one. There's a good.
About to meet.
There's Toby.
Oh, he's actually very, very, very cute.
That's Toby.
I bet
he's very handsome. He's very handsome. He's very distinguished. And last night I told him to shut up, and I'm never going to do that again, no matter how much noise my teenage daughter makes with her friends. So that's my.
I was seriously like, last night they were like trying to knock something over. I was sleeping. I was like, "You're the worst cats I've ever met." So it could be worse.
Okay. Well, none of us are perfect, Liz.
Now he's doing this weird thing. Whenever you touch a cat and then they like clean themselves afterwards, it's always a little bit hurtful.
They're clean freaks. Yeah, you feel a little. Yeah, that's why I was never a cat person, because I felt that dogs were more forgiving.
Oh yeah, I'm a dog person. I used to rescue pickles. One day my ADHD told me to go online and type free pets and get these 3 kittens, and now they're 5. And I'm going to have them till I'm like 50.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's working. I think it's working. And I'm so glad I ran into you at the Village Idiot the other week. We read, that's how this whole thing. Yes. That's how this.
Okay.
You were sitting at the bar, and I was with my friends, and we were kind of looking at each other, and it's hard to see you and not know that it's you. I mean, it was you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Liz.
So I knew your name and I remembered you. And I was
right. And you said, oh, Hersh. And yeah, that triggered this thing because we had an exchange like not long ago, but it triggered the timing. Everything's meant to be.
And my frontal lobe is finally developing. So
your lobe is developing, and that affects the color of your hair. But
I know it just popped out red.
It works. It works for you.
I like
it. That color really works. How often do you change it?
I mean, I had a 3-day insomnia, and then I remember looking in the mirror and then shaving this and then cutting it and then like dyeing it. And I woke up, I was like, all right. You know?
Well, when you woke up, did you not remember that you had done it?
I remembered I did it, but it was as if it were a dream.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have very, very vivid dreams. I only wish that I could replicate them on paper, like that I would remember. Now, I'm sure they weren't as perfect as my immediate recollection of them is.
You're supposed to keep if you want to remember them, if you keep a dream journal, the second you wake up and you write it down, as you continue to write them down, you will start remembering more and more. Like that is true.
I'm going to start doing that.
I'm obsessed with the brain.
I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for my brain, and sometimes, I think the channel that connects the emotions and the intellect are a challenge for me.
Callosum.
What?
Is it the corpus callosum?
Could be. Could be.
Anyway,
Does it come? Does it come with cheese?
I just know that it chills in your brain and hangs out like a possum.
It
That's
hangs out there. It just hangs out in your brain. How's your corpus callosum doing? How's it going? How's your how's
the
your colossum?
gladiators,
Yeah.
the Colosseum. I don't know.
Oh, right. Oh, I get it now. Okay. All right, Liz. Well, I'm gonna stop recording now.
Okay.
But thank you for coming on.
Thank you. This was awesome.
And we'll talk really soon. Don't hang up.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stop the recording. Usually
Okay.
I say that before the interview. I go, oh, by the way, at the end, I'm gonna say goodbye and stop the recording, but I'll talk to you after.
I figured.
But you figured anyway. But I just did.
I did.
Well, we'll say goodbye to the audience. Say goodbye to the audience.
Goodbye to you all.
Thanks so much for tuning into Truth Tastes Funny. If you enjoyed the experience, please leave a 5-star review and share this podcast with your friends.